I want to talk about circumcision and, you know, people's views on it, reasoning for it. I think it's really a horrible, horrible thing to do. I used to be for it, but now I'm against it. I would never, ever circumcise my child. I don't care if he would be made fun of. He doesn't deserve friends who would make fun of him based on his penis. They shouldn't be looking at his penis. Anyways, so let's see. Reasons people circumcise. I have a little list right here. These are the most common reasons I hear for circumcision. So I realize that there's many reasons, but these seem to be the most common. So bear with me, please. These eggs just won't break. Anyways, people say that it's cleaner and easier to care for. And I would just like to ask, I'd just like to bring a little bit of interesting logic into this reasoning. By the way, I'm going to do this in two parts. This is part one, simply because I have tried many times to do this in one take. That's under 10 minutes. That's not going to work. So I have to do this twice. If it's such a easy to clean, I don't understand why it's easy to clean. Because, you know, when you bring your circumcised baby home, you have to care for his penis. You know that, right? You got to kind of make sure it doesn't get infected. So why would you want to circumcise your baby and create more work in the effort or in the purpose to create less work? That makes no sense. Besides that, your child is still going to have to clean his penis when he gets older. It's undeniable, okay? I mean, men have their own penises to worry about, and women have been around plenty of penises, and I've been around penises, and I know that they need to be cleaned. They get icky after a little while, so you got to clean them anyway. So what does it matter whether or not there's a foreskin on it? Doesn't seem to be much evidence towards or against the possibility of it being unclean in that sense. So there's that. Some people do it because of religion, like if you're Jewish. I find less of a problem with this. I know that it can be debated left and right and forward and backwards and whatever, all until, you know, in 2012. But I still am not going to find as much of a problem if you're Jewish and you're doing it for religious reasons. People do things for religious reasons and they think it's right. And many guys right now who are circumcised don't seem to have a problem with it, so I can see where parents would decide that. The only thing I would wonder is, what if the child wants to have his foreskin back? There are ways that he can grow it back, essentially, but I don't really see how it's going to be the same. So I would ask some people to be careful in their decision. But, you know, your decision is your decision. Even if you're not religious, if you decide to circumcise your child, go for it. But I honestly wouldn't. Anyways, also, fathers, future fathers, men in general, seem to use the reason that they were circumcised, so therefore their son should be circumcised. I don't understand this reasoning. I have seen people say, I was cut and I want my son to look like me. My question to them is, why are you looking at your son's penis, you pervert? You should only be looking at your son's penis if necessary. If you're giving your son a bath, you know, like when he's a baby, that's totally fine. I don't care. Actually, I really don't care if you see your son, like, naked when he's grown up, just as long as he doesn't care. I mean, if you guys are, like, nudists or something, that's fine. I really have no problem with nudity, and I don't have a problem with seeing people's, you know, penises or anything. But, you know, some people do. So I'm just using that as an example. Father, I'm sorry. You were cut, that doesn't mean you have to do that to your son. Let him make his own decision on that. You can get circumcised later on in life, and yeah, it's painful, but so is a boob job, and many women seem to be ready to get that, so I don't really see any reasoning not to allow your son to make his own decision. People say that or aesthetically pleasing qualities and culture seem to go hand in hand in that. It seems to be mostly a problem in America, too. I don't understand why America doesn't have it yet, but whatever. Aesthetically pleasing. I don't really see how a scarred penis is really aesthetically pleasing. I mean, penises look funny anyways. all penises look kind of stupid. I'm sorry. If you think your penis looks hot, go for it. I don't mind, but whatever. I think they all look kind of ugly. And that's just as a girl. But I don't really see any reason, like, let's see, I'm losing my words, so bear with me for a minute. If you're gonna just be with somebody because their penis looks good to you, you need to question what matters to you. I'm sorry. You need to question it. You need to go look at your values and say, what do I care about? And if really the penis is the first on the list, then fine, I guess. But I don't really think that's fair to the guy, because you could be missing out on a really awesome guy. I don't really think it matters. You know, I don't see where it should matter. I think our culture needs to wake up a little bit, because everyone's like, oh, you have an ugly penis, so we're going to make fun of you, or whatever. People seem to be worried about kids making fun of their kid's penis. But, okay, if you are anybody who has made fun of somebody's penis, I have a question. Why do you care, number one? And number two, why were you looking at their penis? Why were you looking at another boy's penis? Or at a boy's penis if you're a girl? And why should it matter? It's not your penis. And if anything, he should be making fun of you for having the deformed penis, because yours is cut. Don't really see how having something natural is really a bad thing. Many people think of the female circumcision that's done in like African countries, and you know, I know that they really shouldn't be compared too much, because I know that, you know, in those countries they do it when the girls are like 10 or something like that, like when they're much older, rather than doing it to newborns. So I can understand, you know, why people would get more up in arms about the female circumcision rather than male circumcision. So I'm going to ask a question in a different way, but it's going to involve that either way. My question is, if suddenly it was decided that, you know what, girls seem to get more yeast infections, or they have, you know, the little white gooey stuff, you know, if they don't clean themselves properly when they're not circumcised, therefore they should be circumcised, and if you circumcise them, it happens less. Because that's the reason for male circumcision, right? Mostly cleanliness, like I covered before. I don't really see, you know, how, obviously, a girl could be any more clean with herself if she's just washing, right? So that's just a silly concept to us right now. But work with me on this one. If you wouldn't take your daughter, your newborn daughter, not your 10-year-old daughter, not your 13-year-old daughter, not your 5-year-old daughter, your newborn daughter, just put in your arms, and the doctor says, we've been doing some new studies, and apparently circumcising your daughter is actually a good thing. Would you really do that to your daughter? You, obviously, more than likely, I would say I'm 99.9% sure that you are a uncircumcised woman. You have your labia, you have your clitoris. Granted, we're not going to include the clitoris in this one, but you have your labia. I'm very sure. Would you, knowing that this is pretty much not true, demand that your daughter therefore get circumcised? Now, granted, I'm pretty sure that you probably wouldn't. I would hope you say no. I mean, if you say yes, that's... I can't say much to you then. But if you would say no to the doctor, no, I don't want you to circumcise my daughter, why would you say it for your son? It's pretty much the same thing. It's an extra piece of skin that protects all of our, you know, sexy parts and keeps them sensitive. And all you need is some basic hygiene. That's all you need. You do not need any crazy, you know, like special creams or anything. It's basic hygiene. So I don't really see why you would, you know, use especially that right there as an excuse. If you wouldn't do it to your daughter, why do it to your son? If you can answer that and justify it, go for it. But if you cannot justify doing it for your daughter, I don't see how you could justify doing it to your son. And that's just my personal opinion. If you don't like it, that's fine. If you still want to circumcise your son, that's fine. I mean, I don't agree with it, but obviously, you know, you're not going to get anywhere with your life if you, you know, care about people disagreeing with you. So, you know, I'm just offering my advice, my opinion, and, you know, hopefully people take it into consideration.